Hi, this is Sandy. We are continuing on with Cubism. We're going to try and understand how to make a Cubism picture. We aren't really studying about the artist this week. We're just studying about what makes a Cubism picture a Cubism picture. And it all has to do with that word cube. Okay, let's get started. Okay, now let's start our project. But before we start our project, we've never really talked about our pencils. So I'm going to talk about pencils. I want you guys to see something. I've never taken art. So in order to teach you, I will do my art research and I will write my notes on the backs of the paper here of things that I want to make sure and talk about when I'm doing your lesson. Things I think are important to know. You can do your research and you can do your projects, and then you can actually write notes on them to say exactly what your projects are that you want to talk about or that you want to remember about this project. Make your notes in your journal so you have a record of them. Okay, let's talk about pencils. Pencils come in with a number system. And the number system also has letters. If you go and you buy a pencil at the store, just a yellow pencil, it's probably a 2B. Doesn't mean anything to you, but your teacher might say, you have to have a 2B pencil. That means that this pencil, when it is filled out on one of your test forms that you take, the computer can read it. Whereas the computer might not be able to read an 8 pencil. So she's already telling you to get pencils that are a certain grade. Now some of these, like this pencil right here, doesn't have a number on it. It's probably what is called an HB pencil, which just means a middle-of-the-road pencil. Okay, some of these letters mean the hardness of the lead and the softness, the hardness, the softness, and how dark it gets. It's interesting that we call these lead pencils, and they aren't lead. They're a mixture of graphite and clay. The more graphite they have, the darker it is. The more the clay makes the graphite crumbly. So each of these means something. An 8H pencil, here's an HB pencil, and I can draw here. And I'm pressing, not pressing hard. Let's see, can you see that? Right here. This is an HB pencil, right here. I'm on the side of it. And this is an 8H pencil. I will never get darkness out of this. So when I'm shading something and I'm working on it and I want it to be just a light shade to go to a dark shade, I might want to start out with this and go to this and then kind of in the middle ground, give it a little bit. And I've got a graded shade there. Okay, let's get started. We are going to be drawing this glass. But remember, we're going to do a cubism. That means that we're seeing many different sides of it, and we're going to do it all on one paper. So when we make this glass, it's not going to be just this glass on this paper with the shadow. It's going to be this vantage point, this vantage point, and maybe that vantage point. A vantage point can also be called a perspective. So where we had our perspective, and we were doing a perspective drawing, and we were going from close to far away, that was one perspective. This perspective is just looking at different angles that the glass gives us. And because it's Cubism, we're going to do it on top of each other. So we're not going to start a new piece of paper every time we look at a different angle. If you look at this picture that we did circles, we did triangles, we did another type of triangle, we did lines, and it's all on one piece of paper. That's what we're aiming for. So the first one I want to do is just what it looks like from this point of view. And I'm going to take just a medium old pencil, and I'm going to draw it. And I don't want to draw a great big one, because if I draw a great big one, it's going to take up the whole piece of paper, and it isn't going to be that interesting. But I'm just going to make it middle ground. Get down to the bottom, and what I see is right here, and then it goes from here to here. Okay, that's what I'm drawing. And it's got a little bit of a lip there. That's my first perspective that I'm using. Now maybe I need to walk around it and try a different perspective. How about if I went from the bottom, looking at the bottom, just like this? I would be seeing a bottom, a nice big square, and a top. Okay, let's get a different perspective. Let's do one where he's laying on the side. We've got the side view, really looks lopsided, doesn't it? Maybe I want another one. And all I'm going to do is the cup part. I'm going to make it go this way. Now all I want to do is the bottom part. I think all I want is that round line. I need something over here. How about if I just do that? Let's do that again, right here. Okay, I think I need to do the glass this way. Do you see how everything is getting crowded right in the center of my paper? That's what happens with Cubism. It does get crowded in the center of the paper because so much of our life, we put things in the center. We didn't want to start something over at this end or this end. We started it and it always seemed to end here. But that's part of the Cubism, the things that you'll see. Now, if you want, you can say, okay, well, this needs something. I could take and I could make that line go right like this. Or maybe, what about the side? Maybe I just need to break this spot, this area up right here, and I can just make one line that way. A lot of it's going to depend on what you do. You can use these big spots, or you can just keep breaking them up more and more. Okay, let's think about our shading. We can, if you want to remember, let's see, which lesson was it that we talked about crosshatches? We can shade by just drawing hatch marks like this. We can do another side of them right like this, and that's a form of shading. All of this works in Cubism. Now we can also do stippling, which is taking your pencil, and the more little dots you get on the inside, the more it looks like it's shaded. So you can have lots of dots here. When I'm doing these dots, I'm not taking my pencil up and down and poking. I'm keeping it down here. Okay, what else could we do? We could use that soft pen or the hard lead, and here's a number 8, and I'm going to shade with a number 8, and then I'm going to go with the number 4. And I'm going to finish with a plain old HB, which means it's probably a number 2. And it looks like I've actually shaded. Okay, what else can I do? I can take the F pencil, says that it can be made into a fine point. I can go over here and maybe I want to shade. Right against here because I want this to be darker. And when I get to this point right here, I'm going to take my finger and smudge it to finish filling that in. Okay, I like it. All right, now, the thing about Cubism is we can take and we can make the layers of this. So I can now come in and say, okay, I want this whole layer right here of this first one that one of the first ones I did. Okay, I'm getting kind of messy here. And I'm a lot like we did last week with our colored pencils. I'm going to shade it. And I'm going to go right over what I did, but I'm going to stop at that line right there. All right, now I'm going to take and I'm going to smudge this and just keep it where that first glass was. Okay, that works. I might want to do some cross hatching right here. How about if we just, let's do another one where we shade it. I'm keeping it really interesting in the center, aren't I? I'm going to stipple this one. And I think this needs some lines to break it up. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to make some lines. Remember, there's no wrong way, there's no right way, there's just your way. But we're going to make this one interesting for the viewer to see it. Now I'm getting pretty messy here with the pencil marks. So at this point, I might take a tissue and put my hand on it so that I'm not running my hand through everything. Let's see, I think I want to make this whole part right here one color to start with. So I'm going to shade it, but I'm going to go with a softer lead or harder lead. Higher number, let's put it that way. No matter what I do, this is not going to get darker than this. Okay, I think I'm going to go to a 4H pencil. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do this whole one. This is a number 3 pencil. This could take forever. So, But I know I'm going to put those cross hatches in, or those little stipples in all of this. But I don't want to take the time while you're sitting here watching the video to do that. So at this point, I'm going to speed up the video, stop talking, and you can just watch me work. Okay, I'm pretty much done. If you'll notice, there were spots in here that were looking kind of boring. So I went ahead and I made more shapes. Like this spot up here is really boring to me. So I think I'm going to pretend I'm drawing this glass like that. And maybe just the top of the glass. Now I'm going to work these just a little bit. I'm going to have to figure out one more thing for that area right there, and I think I'm about done. This is Cubism. You can sort of see the cup that we had. You can see it in the different shapes, but it doesn't look anything really like a cup. So have fun with Cubism and create some abstract art.